how to use a spoon, kid.
Well, no, I'm just saying as like a whole, it's interesting when like how people can do something very complicated, but then when it comes to like a phone or something, it's just like it's so hard for them because of how advanced it is.
Okay, so because you grew up with this technology, we grew up with having to fix our vehicles with whatever we had laying around.
Fun fact, I actually didn't even get a cell phone until I was 18 years old.
I didn't get one until I was 20.
That's unusual for your generation.
Yeah,
Now,
I was
as
in
far as building
college.
custom cars, I'm a bit cheaper, but I predate Toy Warp a little bit because I've been building custom cars and motorcycles professionally for over 2.5 decades. And where I specialize is the GM front wheel drives of the 80s and building cars from the ground up. I currently have a one-of-one factory custom that I'm modifying and building from the ground up. It's Toy Warp. Do you remember the Chevy Celebrities from the 80s?
Of course I do. Are you talking about your VR?
Yeah.
How?
Yep.
Okay, I got a stupid question. How is the VR one of one?
Because the VR, it had the custom body kit, it had the 1 year only interior, and it's been documented as one of 57 out of a production run of over 600,000. But what's not documented is this is the only black station wagon VR that came with LED tachometer instead of a gear indicator.
Gauge. Okay.
Well, the gauges are all analog and everything, but on the dash above the steering column, below the speedometer, where your gear indicator would normally be, because my car is a floor shift, instead of having the gear indicator, it's got an LED tachometer, and because of that, it's one of one. But the problem I run into is because I've lowered it 2 inches and the 17-inch rims and stuff, and living in the middle of the forest, the car literally sits so low I cannot drive it out of my own neighborhood.
That sounds counterproductive, yeah.
I have to when I get it running again, I'll have to find a way to have a tow truck come, pick it up, move it 2 blocks out to the main road to be able to drive it. And then when I come home, it'd have to go again on a trailer or something 2 blocks back to my house.
Jeez.
Yeah. But like your Berettas came with the 2.8s or the 3.1s. Part of building it is I'm swapping out the motor for a 3400 out of a 2005 Monte Carlo SS.
Yeah, same engine factory. It's all 60-degree V6, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where people get confused, though, is the fact that I'm going to run the 2005 engine on the original OBD1 computers.
I don't know how you're going to pull that off. I think it'd be a hell of a lot easier just to pick up a Megasquirt and just have a standalone system. Megasquirts are super easy. I hate wiring. I hate wiring, and I can wire up a Megasquirt. It's super easy.
Let me say something here. At my wedding, my parents gave this very lovely speech where my dad talked about how he'd watched my stream a couple of times, and he was like, "Anthony, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about." I imagine me listening to you guys talk about this car stuff is exactly how my dad feels watching the stream normally, with the times that he did. Is that our intro? Okay. Yeah, there. Oh yeah, check out the Knight Rider in the corner. We can't embiggen the windows probably, but
Oh, Magnus, did you get batteries?
yeah, I got batteries.
Yes.
There are sound effects that Discord has not been liking to pick up, but they are there as well.
I don't think they're loud enough for the talk to speak to work. Yeah, I had to order a 12-pack.
They make you work for those batteries.
Well, it's this LR44. Is that what it was? Yeah, LR44 is a hearing aid battery for a hearing aid that's only sold in Europe. That's
What in the?
so. Thank you, Hasbro.
That's weird.
Since
Why
this
would
is, I was just gonna say I don't
even
know
one
much about
battery and buying
hearing
a
aids.
lifetime surprise.
Yeah. I was gonna say like it's weird that they wouldn't include some there because generally these come with batteries in the box. Like at least the ones I collected that had electronic stuff back in the day.
Well, that's what I was expecting. You know, when I took it out of the box, and I was like, "How do I turn it on?" I'm
Yeah.
pushing the button, nothing's happening. And then I got the instructions out and looked at it, and it says 3 LR44s not included. And I was like, "Oh."
I mean,
So you got to get batteries for it. That's no problem. We went to 9 places to find this LR44.
I'm guessing there wasn't
No.
space for AAAs or anything in that structure.
No, because it's just that box in the front,
Mm-hmm.
and all 3 of them fit right here.
I don't know how true it is, but I have heard like if you cut apart a AA or AAA, it's a series of little batteries joined together.
Either way, don't try doing that, please.
Children of
Yes,
Primus
don't
does
try
not
this at home.
does not condone the process of cutting batteries open to see if they are in fact stacked up little ones.
Yeah, 'cause that is a
And
major
if you
fire
do it,
hazard.
please don't mention us.
I know it's so much of a fire hazard that stuff that has batteries in it, because I do scrap metal for a living, and stuff that has batteries in it is not allowed on the pile. That you cannot dump anything because it literally starts fires. I'm like, they have a fire a week in the scrapyard because batteries will, burst into flames.
But I went to Batteries Plus, and they're the ones that told me, said, just order them from Amazon. You'll get them in a week. He said, but you won't find them in a store anywhere because there's nothing in America that runs on them.
That's weird.
I said, there is, too. There's a damn transformer.
I mean, that's fair. You can find anything except a person on Amazon at this point, so. I don't know.
Children of Primus
I'm sure that
does
there's things that you can order on Amazon, like Mayfair.
Okay, Children of
Well, I don't
Primus
know what
does
Jen
not
is cooking up.
condone human trafficking.
That's right.
We only traffic in Transformers.
That's right. Transformers
Oh my God.
We
trafficking.
love Transformers.
Mhm. It's not something I've actively noticed. I've ordered a few Christmas gifts and I haven't had any trouble getting them on time. But also, I've been doing most of my Christmas shopping like physically. Um, Though I am noticing that my monthly delivery of cat litter seems to be taking a little bit longer than usual. So I wonder if it has to do with that. I'm so unaware of
Shiba
it.
Kobe.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The legend. Uh,
Turn your mic on.
yeah, voice and
I'm
video.
double checking my facts here, and it does say that they made an offer. Canada Post made an offer to end the strike, and I guess they didn't see that it meets what they want, so they declined it, and it actually soured them a little bit. So now they're kind of moving backwards.
Yeah,
And that was
interesting.
maybe a day ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always for strikes if it because I feel like you need to speak up for yourself, you need to stand up for yourself. But
Yeah.
like it sucks for everybody else involved.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of the double edged sort of it, right? Because if a strike wasn't inconvenient for somebody, then it wouldn't there wouldn't be any purpose to it, and it's very difficult to advocate for yourself in that way without inconveniencing somebody. So somebody's going to get inconvenienced, whether that's somebody getting their Christmas gifts late or there's been a few teacher strikes in my time. Whether the parents got to take care of their kids during the school day. Like it's always going to stink for somebody, but it has to for it to work. That's been my impression of it.
Yeah, it's always gonna like it's always gonna be beneficial for somebody, but then on the other end of it, it's also really gonna suck ass for somebody else. So I guess it also depends on what you're going on strike for. Like I've seen people go on strike for the stupidest things, but if you're going for like better work conditions or better pay, just anything that benefits you, because sometimes people get treated so poorly when it comes to the job fields. I don't know. It's a very weird situation.
Yeah. I just realized. Well, first of all, Orlotti sent me a text being like, "Tell Spin that he still can't hear him on YouTube." So, yeah. Uh,
We'll,
but any,
we'll say his mic is kind
That's
of
what
low in the
Shiba.
Discord as well. So
That's what Shiba said to. Well, when she joined on here, maybe now I can hear Spin. That's the only reason she got in here, so she could
yeah.
hear what Spin was saying.
I'll
That
tell
that deep melodious voice.
I'll give
They're
one free
missing you.
tip. One free tip to the audience here that just occurred to me as I was talking about this. If there's any Christmas shopping that you haven't gotten done yet, you can just be like, "Oh, I had you ordered you something weeks ago, but that Canada Post strike. Woof."
That's dirty.
Yeah.
That's
so
low.
what we're
Even
saying
for
is
you.
here at Children of Primus, we don't condone child trafficking, but we condone lying.
Massaging the truth if you're going to get them a gift anyway. That's what I'm saying. So like,
I was going to bring the gifts on time anyway.
Yeah, exactly. What's the problem? Nobody gets hurt. Yeah, what I can do in the interim is see if I can share my screen, because I did pop up all the news of all the cool things that Canada Post will have trouble delivering from the big toy fair on the weekend. Let's see if I can do that. Screen share. Badoom. What you're streaming. Go live. Ooh, is that from me? Yeah, that's from me. How visible is it?
It just says watch stream.
Yeah,
You know
click
what?
on. Yeah, no, you have to
I can
click
click
on
it,
that
though.
to see it.
I can click
Yeah.
it.
But is it going to be visible on YouTube? That's my question.
Tell you here in a second.
Yeah.
If you click on.
No, I clicked it and it's not viewable. It just says watch stream on YouTube. I've got YouTube up on my phone so I can watch the comments.
Yeah. Hey, Spin, try clicking on that to see if, because we're casting from your computer, see if you can see it.
Hey.
Yeah, I think the person that's hosting the stream has to click on watch stream for it to show up.
Hang on. We're getting something on YouTube.
Got it.
All
There it
right.
is.
Here we go. So this is all of the stuff that got unveiled. Let me just make sure that I have the right window up. There we go. Okay, so the big news is they're doing Superion next as the next commander combiner. They did Menasor last year, and so this means the next commander class figure is going to be Silverbolt, who we have product photography of here. And they're going to do the same thing they did with Menasor, where they build a skeleton around him to make the combiner. And in this case, this big wall of stuff that he can hide behind is an essential part of forming the combiner. So what they did was he has his normal jet mode here, his like pseudo Concorde, and then you can just attach the combiner junk to the back of him to make like a space booster mode. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'll get to her. I'll get to everybody. So they've only shown a couple of aerial bots. So only only the arms on his right side are currently filled in here. But yeah, you can see the rest of it is like an exoskeleton, like on Menasor. But yeah, that's what Superion's going to look like. Super animation accurate. So that'll be the Age of the Primes Commander class figure, and they have a couple of his limbs down here. There's the packaging art, but it's stuff we've already seen. Okay, which aerial bot is this? I have trouble telling them apart.
It's Air Raid.
Air Raid.
Yeah, okay, that's Air Raid. So Air Raid is one of the two limbs that we got coming out. Yeah, there he is with his two pistols, and there he is with his jet mode there. Yeah. There's a look at what the packaging for Age of the Primes is going to look like. Got the box art and everything. And this is the one I do recognize, Slingshot, because he's the one with the orange face.
Yep.
And his whole thing was he was kind of a jerk on the cartoon.
And he had a Rolls Royce grill.
Yeah.
His chest piece was made out of a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, people were just straight up like, why did they not have that accessory with this guy? I guarantee you, like, Non-F is going to make one, like, immediately. Yeah. So other things that are of interest, a animated Waspinator from animated Bumblebee. One sort of notable thing here is this was going to be a toy and animated in 2007. It was canceled, so this new one getting made is like vindication, like all these years later. Yeah, so it's an unreleased figure, basically.
That's pretty neat because everybody likes Waspinator.
Yeah. And we learned what he got an origin story in animated where he was a cadet along with Bumblebee, and a horrible crime happened, and Waspinator got framed for it and got sent to prison and lost his mind in prison, and that's what made him start talking like that and acting weird. So it was dark.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love Auto Boot Camp.
Yeah, that was the name of the episode. All right, so now we're on to the 13, and we have Solus Prime, who I understand is going to be a deluxe, and she has the hammer there, which, if you remember Transformers Prime, it's the Forge of Solus Prime. I think Ultra
That's the
Magnus
one I
got,
wanted.
yeah, I think Ultra Magnus got to wield that on Prime. And they gave her a pretty sort of an Orion Pax looking truck mode, in my opinion, like the old Thrilling 31. Yeah, I love the purple and gold. That's a good set of colors. Next, we have one that I specifically want, Blue Generation 2 Grimlock. Finally, this is the Studio Series figure in Generation 2 colors, and he still comes with Wheelie. And it took me a while to figure out what they were doing with him. This is Wheelie as he looked in some of the illustrated storybooks that they put out in 1986, like the one they did that explained what his origin story was. You know, like Wheelie, the Wild Kid of Quintessa, or whatever. So that's a fairly nice niche thing. And there's Grimlock in his robot mode. Yeah, I don't have a
Badass.
yeah, I don't have a version of this guy yet, so this will be the one I get because I love me some Generation 2 stuff.
Are they going to do all of them G2 colors, I wonder?
There is a listing for some sort of Generation 2 Dinobot multi-pack, and the scuttlebutt from the leakers is that it's going to be a 2-pack of Slag and Snarl, because those were the other two that they did in Generation 2 in the main line. Like, there were plans for the other ones, but they got canceled. So at the very least, those two will probably be coming, presumably in red and green. Yeah. And we've seen the Fallen already. He was previously revealed. I'm really looking forward to this guy because he just looks cool and is on fire like any metal robot should be. And here we go. This is our big Titan class figure, Star Convoy.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a couple interesting things here. First of all, they're actually lowering the price on Titans. I forget by how much, but like by a few dollars, because they're making this guy a little bit smaller, because he doesn't need to be like city size. So he still costs more than a commander because he's bigger than a commander. But they actually dropped the price point on him a bit.
You know what the price point is now?
I might be able to find out up top here if I just scroll over here really quickly. Waspinator, Air Raid, Red Alert, Primus, Silverbolt, Grimlock, Megatronus. Yeah, Star Optimus Prime. His retail price is $149.99, and I don't remember what normal Titans cost. You'll have to help me, but I know it was a little more than that.
They're $200.
Yeah, so they dropped his price a fair amount. Yeah, so here's the thing. He's called Star Convoy because Optimus Prime is called Convoy in Japan, but they decided they're going to name him Star Optimus Prime, which I think is kind of lame because that's kind of a mouthful. Yeah, here's all the stuff he comes with, and if you'll look to the lower right, you can see a Micromaster
hot rod?
Yep.
Nice.
The original came with a Micromaster. The G1 original came with Micromaster hot rods, so this is coming with one too. And you can see Hot Rod riding in his chest there because they could do that on the original.
Wow, I love that he decided to carry Hot Rod everywhere so he wouldn't get him killed again.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's his space truck mode. It looked like that on the original too. And here is his funny base mode that is mostly just an upper torso. Again, this is what it looked like in 1990. They're being accurate here. And Hot Rod gets a little gun turret, and you can pop him out of this little trailer that he comes with, which I think is a really neat feature. And there's the trailer in his base mode. Yeah, so this is pretty lush, honestly.
And that kind of looks like the shuttle that Rodimus Prime's trailer turns into.
Yeah, you know, it might. I know this is a micro trailer, and it's a thing that they did in Japan when the Micromasters came out. Like, all of the sets came with these. Yeah, I'm in this for the Micromaster.
No, I'm very excited for because I think it looks cool. The Masterclass Hot Rod.
the fancy Takara. I mean the fancy. I know which one you mean. I don't. I'll have to find photos of it.
Yeah.
So over here they got.
I can actually send a photo in the chat if you want, because I had one saved to show somebody.
Oh yeah, yes please. Yeah.
It'll be in the messenger chat.
Okay, I can eventually get it up here. It will take a few steps, but I can make it happen. In the meantime, there's Armada Red Alert. They're continuing their Transformers Armada guys. He was one of the 3 guys in the PS2 game. So now that they've done him, Optimus, and Hotshot, they have the full cast of the video game. For all the people that were fans of that. Okay, so here's another one of the 13, Prima Prime. I believe he's also a deluxe. He's got like a lunar rover mode. And there's a couple interesting things about this guy. One is that he comes with the Star Saber. And the other one is his head is based on a character from 5 Faces of Darkness. When Rodimus Prime was going through those visions of all the different primes. Like, that's one of them there. I'd need to pull up the photo to show it off, but yeah, it's straight up a Sunbow deep cut. And then, oh yeah, and here's where it gets weird. They're doing a Sonic crossover as their next collaborative. So this is their Sonic the Hedgehog transformer called Blue Booster. Yeah. And
that is awkward.
Yeah, changes into a racer. I'm told this is from, like, Sonic did like a Mario Kart type thing, and this was his car from that.
Yeah, it's called Sonic Racers.
Yeah, and then they did Tails as well. Kind of a funky looking head sculpt. But I do appreciate that. Even I know about the airplane that he has, so I'm like, okay, that makes sense. It's Tails' airplane. Yeah, and that's it for the main stuff. This is just like tat for kids.
I wonder if they're going to release the Sonic stuff in time for the movie. The movie comes out the 20th.
Hey, there is no way it'll be ready in time. Like that's in a few days. This only just got unveiled like right now. I mean, maybe they could, but I wouldn't expect it to come out that fast. Then over here we got like in-hand stuff from the actual convention floor. Yeah, like the full-scale Superion. Here we go. These are the good ones. So there's Star Optimus Prime. Hate that name. You might as well just call him Star Convoy because it sounds cooler.
That or Star Prime, like.
Yeah, or Battlestar Optimus Prime, because his gang of people that he was a part of was called the Battlestars. So
it literally makes him sound like a Power Ranger.
Well, they're bringing a little bit of. You look at his design, and they are definitely evoking a lot of that Bandai Megazord kind of vibes, I think.
Yeah, I noticed that. I do like the head. I think that the head looks pretty cool.
Yeah, with the big Gundam type crest.
Yeah, it looks like it's like his ultimate version, and it makes him look badass.
Yeah, well, that was the. Go ahead.
Speaking of Gundams, Bill, I have some questions for you after this.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a Prima looking a lot more interesting in person than the renders. This is why the in-person photos are like good. I know about Battlestars. Yeah. Yeah, so I'll pop his image up here. So Battlestars is the series this guy is from, and it's from the very end of Generation 1 in Japan. I think 1990, literally. And like, to put it into context, there were no cartoons anymore. All they had was a single manga chapter and a bunch of story pages inside the Japan's television magazine and a toy line. And this guy was the centerpiece of that toy line. It was mostly MicroMasters. But yeah, it's right at the end of Japanese Generation 1. And the premise is like a gigantic space demon from nowhere called Dark Nova is causing problems. They had a lot of those at the end of Generation 1 because they weren't really making bad guy toys anymore because they didn't sell very well. So they'd just be like, space demon from nowhere, exists only in the story. And everybody's like, we need Optimus Prime back for this. We'll use the Zodiac energy from the previous series, Transformers Zone, to bring him back to life again, because he was dead again. If you remember Headmasters, he died there. And so he gets resurrected into this super strong form. And Megatron gets brought back from being Galvatron into Super Megatron, and they fight. There wasn't too much story because, like I said, there wasn't much story published. It was just like story pages and a couple manga chapters, so it was mostly just a toy line. But yeah, it was straight up like one of the last full G1 things they did in Japan. You got the Micromasters, you got this guy, you got a few other things here and there. But yeah, this guy was like the big centerpiece at the time. Yeah, it's. And if you buy the Transformers manga volumes published by Viz Media, you can read these stories in the third volume of them. Yeah. Yeah, that's what people have been saying. Well, I mean, I don't have Menasor. Bill probably has Menasor. I know that he can't scramble. Uh, the best thing, the most that people are saying is, depending on how they've designed this, you might be able to like stick some Stunticon limbs on there, but it's got to be like the same arm. Like Menosaur's left arm could probably go on Superion's left arm. Menosaur's left leg could probably go on Superion's left leg, but you can't like swap arms and legs like in Scramble City because of how it's designed. Yeah,
I'm going to say that they probably will because that is almost identical to Minosaur's build.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what people are speculating.
I'm going to say at least the arms are going to be similar. You're going to push a button and snap them in half.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they come apart so he bends at the elbow. And that's exactly how Minosaur does. And the legs just snap on the back. You fold the hood of the car back over to the windshield, and it just snaps onto the back of that leg piece.
Yeah. So yeah, you might be able to stick Menosaur's limbs on here, but it's not like free converting the way that the old Scramble City combiners are. That's what people think, right? Based on the images, like you said. Yeah. Well, yeah. The next time they do an event about Studio Series stuff, maybe we'll see stuff then. There was no Studio Series here, right? They were here entirely to promote like the first wave of Age of the Primes, basically. So I'm not too worried about that. You know. Yeah. It's kind of a thing where like you'll notice that like the more obscure ones like Solus Prime and Prima Prime, those are deluxes, so it's less of a risk to make figures of them at that scale. You look at the leaders, and the leaders are like it's Grimlock. It's a weird colored version of Grimlock, but it's still Grimlock. And like the Fallen, who is sort of obscure, but also he headlined a movie at one point, so there's like name recognition there. The big expensive commander is Superion, who is just like a straight up G1 guy. And like this guy, he's from an obscure thing, but it's just an Optimus Prime variant. So I think it's less risky than it seems at first. And like, you know, Armada, everybody remember a lot of people know and like Armada. I'm not one of them, but a lot of them exist.
I'm not one of them anymore.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, like I said, the PS2 game was really well liked, even amongst people that didn't like Armada. And like the fact that they've gone out of their way to make sure that the people who were in the video game adaptation have all gotten figures in this line is like a good thing. So, because if you remember that fondly, you got Tidal Wave, you got this guy, you got Optimus, you got Hotshot.
It
So
was 100% just a knockoff Bumblebee.
Well, no, the funny thing was he was supposed to be called Bumblebee. We have production materials calling him that. But this was during the time period where they did not have rights to the name. So they changed his name to Hotshot because they couldn't call him Bumblebee. So it's a little bit more than him being a knockoff. It was just supposed to be him at some point in development.
I did not know that. You learn something new every day.
Yeah. They lost the rights to a lot of Transformers names, like towards the end of the 90s, start of the 2000s. And whenever they got them back, it's usually because there was a movie coming out. Like it was because of the 2007 movie, they were able to get the rights sorted to the name Bumblebee. That's why there weren't any like new figures of him for a long time. And that's why for a long time, so many legacy characters had like different names instead of their proper ones. Like Blue Streak was Silver Streak for a long time. Shockwave was Shock Blast for a long time. Hot Rod as a name didn't exist for a long time. It was always like Rodimus or something. And usually these names would come back because there was a movie coming and they had movie money to try and lock down the rights to the character names.
I got a silly question. Earlier, I watched. I guess it'd be like a reveal for this new Prime line.
Yeah.
I could have sworn they were showing a whole bunch of characters, like right after each other. I could have sworn one of those characters was Crasher.
Yeah. We already know that they're gonna do a re-release of the Crasher figure that came out in Velocitron that nobody could get. So they're just straight up rerunning that so people can actually buy it this time.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. I think over here, one of the reasons I popped the recap up is they have some pictures of some stuff that hasn't been revealed, but there's art of. Like, this is that reveal video. Like, there's a Skybite, who they're going to do a new version of, the shark from Robots in Disguise, and there's Onyx Prime, another one of the 13, who changes into a what do you call it? A horse person. Centaur, yeah, that's the thing.
Horse person.
Yeah,
Horse
you know what I
person.
meant.
I
I was
like
just trying to.
horse person
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
I like horse person.
Yeah. And here's one of the images you were thinking of. That's Crasher on the right, and you can tell by the art that's the Velocitron one. They're just running her again. So, and that's one of the rescue bots there. I think it's Heatwave. I bet Impactor would know if he was here.
That's definitely Heatwave.
Yeah. There's Crasher again with Red Alert. Yeah, that was the other thing. They showed a bunch of packaging art for guys they didn't like unveil. Was there any more here? Somebody saw Vortex at one point because we know they're doing the Combaticons eventually, so they're going to be doing Vortex, and his art showed up somewhere.
I have a question. If was Red Alert supposed to be based off of Jazz?
No, he was based off of RoboCop. If you can't tell by his like visor. Like Aaron Archer said that at one point.
I know the one figure I've always wanted was Dead Optimus Prime. I just always thought that was a cool figure.
Oh yeah, they've done a few of him. Like you can get the Earthrise one off. That's the most recent version.
I need to get one for Impactor for Christmas for his stop motions.
Oh yeah, no, that would be a straight up investment because they did it. He's gray and he has like a smashed up face.
I saw, and then they also one of the versions also has the table that he was laying on in the movie.
Yeah. Oh, I think this is the fancy. Was this the fancy hot rod you were talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is from that line called T-Spark, and it's like Takara doing like fancy stuff for all of its properties, not just Transformers. This is like a expensive guy. Believe me, I investigated what the price was at the time because it's a hot rod, and I was like, oh, that's a little out of my range.
The one I was going to pick up in 2023 that I hate that they shelved was the Velocitron.
The Velocitron hot rod, yeah.
Yeah.
I was a little bit annoyed about that, but they are doing that retro line now, the Walmart one, where they're doing like Bumblebee and Gears and like their toy colors. So a lot of people think they might finally get that hot rod out in that line because it's the same idea. So we might see it yet. But yeah, so this is a fancy, like, expensive, like, there's a metal skeleton in their hot rod that they did. It's based on the design from the Lost Light comics, which is another reason why people are after it. I've always talked about those. Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you a lot better than we've been able to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good Lord. I do not have him. I know he's complicated. I don't have one, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always been like that, where you can take more risks at the smaller size classes because it's less of a loss if they're not a hit, By the way, that's we have already known this guy was coming. That's a Masterpiece Jinrai there, aka Masterpiece Power Master Optimus. Yeah,
That's a good looking figure.
yeah. Man, I admit, this is another one where I'm like, oh, I don't know, I don't think I can swing that, but it looks really nice. No, I didn't
think I
own a
did.
PS. I didn't own a PS2. My cousin did, so I played the game a fair amount at his house. But because it wasn't mine and because it was fairly difficult, I never got very far in it.
It was very difficult. I had it as a kid too. I'd like to find it. It's sort of expensive online, but I'd like to find it to try and beat it myself now that I'm
Yeah.
older.
Yeah, like I
If
said,
if you go digging at some booths at flea markets that carry old PS2 games, you could probably find it cheap.
yeah. One thing that makes it a bit hard to find is it's literally just called Transformers. There's no subtitles, no fancy words, even though it's based on Armada. They dropped everything from the title. It's literally just called Transformers. Not to be confused with like Transformers the game, which is the 2007 movie game. So it's a little bit unclear.
The game was horrible.
So,
Yeah.
well, if anybody's looking for it, it has like a funky looking Armada logo. Then it's just got Optimus on the front, so that should make it a little bit easier if anybody spots it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is. I really like this design, like more than anything else.
It almost looks like he has the crown that Starscream had in the '86 movie.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, let me see if there's anything else worth zooming in on. Yeah, there's the hot rod in person. Yeah, here's the thing, and this is something I've thought of a lot. A lot of these times where we get these new figures and they're only like a marginal improvement on the original, we're thinking about it in terms of like we've been collecting for like decades, so we have the originals. I think it should be thought of more of as a case of like, all right, the last time we did a Skybite was in 2014, like a decade plus ago. A lot of people are collecting now that weren't collecting back then. Let's just make another Skybite so people can get one. And while we're here, let's try and make it a little bit better to make it sort of justify making a new one. Yeah. So Skybite is from the 2001 Robots in Disguise anime, and he's a shark who is a bad guy, but also he's a poet that says a lot of haikus. And to a lot of people, he's the best thing about that show.
I don't think I've ever seen Robots in Disguise. At least
Yeah.
I don't remember.
You don't remember it, but you've seen it.
It came right before Armada. It's a lot better than Armada because it was dubbed by the people that did the Digimon dub. So, like, it actually has a good localization and, like, a good attempt at an English dub that adds a lot of humor. It's not legally available anywhere because somewhere along the way, Disney wound up with the rights to the English dub of it, even if they don't have the footage. So it's kind of stuck in licensing hell. However, it is very easy to look it up on YouTube because if there's not going to be any official release, people are just like, yep, let's just upload it. Yeah.
That's weird. That's weird. YouTube would let them do that, honestly. A Disney property? Wow.
So, well, that's the it's not even necessarily a Disney property. It's just that Disney wound up at one point they bought a bunch of stuff from Saban, and Saban did the dub for the show, so they have the rights to the English dub. But like they don't have the rights to like the video footage because it's it's from like Takara and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So like nobody can release it without making a deal. Like when they revealed Omega Prime, who's also from this show, they were showing like lots of clips of him from the show, but there wasn't any audio. It was all just visuals with music over it because they didn't have the rights to the audio. Yeah, but anyway, look it up on YouTube. It's a fun show. It's very low stakes, but that's sort of a good thing in this case.
I just found an English dub on eBay for $25.
Yeah, it's probably the be a little bit careful because that's probably the UK release because it did get a DVD release over there. So make sure it can play on your DVD player if you get a version of it. Yeah.
So this one says NTSC.
Is that North American or?
Yeah, so it's called the Perfect Collection if anybody's looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I don't need to buy a DVD player because I have a PS2, so I'd probably just watch it on that.
Yeah, as long as it's region free. There's another pick of the Masterpiece Power Master guy, and there's this little uncombined form. There's the Omega Prime HasLab, which they're finally showing in-person samples of. There's the big combination. Yeah. Oh, here's the terrible Godzilla things that nobody likes. This is supposed to be Optimus colored like Mechagodzilla. And
yeah, I've been seeing that all over the groups.
Yeah, and this is Grimlock with a different head repainted to be Godzilla.
You're right. Nobody likes that.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea. It's just I don't think that they did it well.
Yeah, with the Grimlock, like they don't have his dinosaur mode here, but it's just like the same dinosaur. It's the same dinosaur mode. Like they didn't even add like spines on the back of it or anything.
It's weird because his head makes him look like a person, which I don't like.
Yeah, people have pointed out that's actually Sludge's head. They just took the tooling from Studio Series Sludge and threw it onto Grimlock's body.
At this point, they're just doing what anybody does, switching parts around and like putting it on shelves.
It's basically just a custom.
We could have Impact or do that for free.
Yeah. So that's pretty much everything that was unveiled over the weekend. So I guess I'll just stop sharing my screen if I can figure out how to do that. There we go. How did the streaming experience go? I'm going to give it a happy face. That's what it asked me.
No, it's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, so, obviously pre-orders for that will go up eventually, but for now we just have to wait and see and hope that to tie it back into the main topic that I totally shanghaied, that Canada Post resolves its strike long enough for these things to be able to get here in a timely manner once you order them.
Before we continue, I'd just like to give this to you for a good stream.
Thank you. I don't know why I applauded myself.
Hey, man. Self-love is important.
Please. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I'm definitely in for G2 Grimlock because I love Blue Grimlock already, and I'm in for the Fallen because I like his appearance in Dreamwave and he's on fire. And beyond that, I don't know. I really like Star Convoy, but I never buy Titans because I don't have Titan money, so I'll have to see what my fortunes are like at that point.
It's interesting because sometimes it seems like it's easier to buy original G1 toys than it is to get stuff that's released today.
Yeah. I'll admit a big part of the appeal of the Star Convoy is like there's a Micromaster Hot Rod.
I am excited about that. As much as I don't like the character, it's a cool looking toy.
Mhm.
Hot Rod has always been a cool looking toy.
Mhm. I mean, you don't like the character. I thought you were a fan of Rodimus Prime.
I am.
I know you are.
If Prime Killer wasn't enough for you, I don't know what is.
Oh, bro. Did I ever tell you about
It's safe to say right now.
Yes?
Good talk.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the idea that Hot Rod was responsible for the death of Optimus was rebuked a little bit back in 1986 when they released the comic book adaptation of the movie. And unlike a lot of comic book adaptations where it's like, oh, this is just like an adaptation, the comic book is canon to the Marvel comics. Like, that's the version of the movie that happened there. So, it has a little bit more weight than your usual movie adaptation. And in that version of the story, Hot Rod does not interfere with the fight, and Megatron still shoots and kills Optimus. It happens anyway. So,
Is that the 3 comic series?
yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at picking that up on eBay to read it, and I know that I was looking into the original script, and that also wasn't in that script as well.
Yeah.
They just threw it in there to sell more toys. So I mean, I technically could be right. So
Yeah. Like, it is specifically like how it played out in the Marvel comics. Because, like, in that story, like, Galvatron has his toy colors. They say it's 2006 instead of 2005. There's a bunch of other things linking it to Marvel instead of the cartoon. So it is specifically a version of the story that happened, as opposed to like an adaptation.
I would love for them to make the original script of that movie.
There was a version of it that was told at TF Nation, like the very earliest script, and it was done by reading it out loud and also commissioning a bunch of art from people about different scenes from the script. But we're talking like a weird early version where the story was completely different and the characters were all different too.
Was that the one where Optimus where Cybertron was its own transformer and he learned the history of the bots and the primes and stuff?
That's one version. The version that they adapted for TF Nation is one where there was a Autobot city has a train that changes into a giant snake called I forget what he was called. He had a name. And Cup changed into like a tank instead of a pickup truck, and Ultra Magnus was the Orion Pax design, but very large instead of the design we all know and love. Yeah, I think the whole thing's up online now, but yeah, that version has been adapted, but it was a fan project. It was not an official project, but it was a very detailed fan project.
I do like Cup's. I do like his vehicle version just because they play him as an old soldier, and I think that a pickup truck is kind of perfect for that.
Yeah. No, these things get changed and adapted for a reason, and one of the people who was doing the adapting was Chris McFeely, the Transformers the Basics guy. And even though he put a lot of love into helping adapt the script, he was like, this script is rubbish. Things just kind of happen with no explanation. It has no sense of pacing. It's terrible. Now enjoy our adaptation of it. So like,
No,
Kind of,
we
it's
don't
kind
need
of
a Christmas.
sad. I think the release is the best version of the movie.
yeah. That's the
I
thing.
was
These
gonna
go ahead.
I was gonna say we don't need a Chris McFeely. We have a fear of courage.
Oh, I would not put myself on that guy's level, honestly. Remember, he's one of the guys that built the Transformers wiki, so
Oh, you mean the one that you study like the Bible every day, right? Don't sell
I-
yourself short in front of me.
that's true. Well, you know what? It's like to make it into a religious metaphor, like who's more authoritative, the person that studied the Bible or the person that wrote it?
I would love to have like a holy Bible that says Fear of Courage version, and it's just a TF wiki.
Oh god, like I bet you could figure this out. Somebody that was really good with data, figure out how big a book covering a snapshot of the entire Transformers wiki would be, because I think it would be. It's a huge website. It'd be gigantic.
Well, I mean, there's like pictures of the original Bible where it is that big, so who knows? Maybe the TF wiki is the original Bible from all those years ago.
Yeah. The thing about the Transformers wiki is it's ruined other fan wikis for me because Transformers because you know they'll do like everything that a character did in all the stories it was in, and then they're like, all right, now we're gonna list every Transformers figure that this character's ever had, like in order. And I'll go to like any other wiki with like that has a lot of merchandise. Like I'll go to the Star Wars wiki and be like, "What do you mean the Luke Skywalker article doesn't end with a list of every Luke Skywalker action figure ever? Maybe I want to see that." So it's ruined every other one of these for me by not doing that.
And from a collector standpoint, that's really useful. And props to them because I'm sure that takes a lot of research.
Yeah, yeah. Many hands make light work because, like, there's this funny thing on Twitter. People seem to think Chris McFeely runs the wiki. He's like not involved anymore. He kind of dropped out of it to do his YouTube show, The Basics. So it's not him. It's not just the 4 or 5 other people that founded it. It's like thousands of people. That's how it got to be so big. Yeah, he just tends to be the face of it because now he has a YouTube series where he just talks in depth about all these Transformers topics and does a lot of convention stuff in the UK, like that script retelling and stuff.
I know that I've been doing YouTube scripts because I'm jumping back into it, and one of the series I plan on doing is like alternate versions of storylines that like I came up with myself because I think that some of them are ass.
Oh, you know, everybody likes a good what if. Marvel made a lot of money off of that concept.
I mean, I think they're still doing it. And does Disney still own Robots in Disguise? Do you know?
Well, they don't. They never did. The problem is they have the rights to the English dub. They can't necessarily release it without making a deal with Hasbro. Hasbro can't release it without making a deal with them. If Hasbro wanted to release it, they could release the Japanese series subtitled, which nobody really wants because the English dub actually improved on it a lot. Or they'd have to record a brand new dub, which probably wouldn't be as good. So it's stuck in rights hell, basically.
Hasbro must not
if
have
they
an interest
release-
in doing it because Hasbro and Disney have a good relationship.
Hmm.
You know, Hasbro does all the Star Wars stuff. It's all Disney. And
Yeah.
all the
You know
all the Marvel Legends and all that kind of stuff, it's all Disney and it's all done by Hasbro.
Yeah.
No, with how like money hungry Hasbro is, I'm slightly surprised that they don't have their own streaming service at this point.
Yeah. I
Wait,
mean,
Hasbro?
Yeah, I would.
Hasbro had their own channel. It was called the Hub. They had their own. Yeah, and it didn't go over very well.
I think like streaming services, people are they're starting to be seen as money pits because they sort of are. So I don't think they'd be as boneheaded as to try and get into the streaming game now. Their streaming service is YouTube because that's where they put all their Transformers episodes like for free, which I think has always been a great move.
I do remember the hub. It's where I used to watch Prime, and I remember Hasbro had like these weird like game show adaptations of like Sorry and Monopoly and stuff. And
Oh,
as a
really?
kid, I ate that shit up
Yeah.
because I was like 13. But like now I'm like, what are you doing, man? It's like it was like they were like trying to copy like 90s Nickelodeon with their game shows.
I've never like okay, so I never got the hub because I'm in Canada and I had like a normal cable package instead of anything fancy. I don't even know if I could have had it. So I knew they had Transformers Prime, which I would just watch on the internet because I didn't have the channel. I know they had My Little Pony when it was like huge. And I knew they liked to rerun
Yeah.
their 80s stuff like later at night. I didn't know they did anything else.
They also had I remember seeing it one time. They had a strawberry shortcake cartoon.
Hmm. I mean, it doesn't surprise me if they like filling a channel is a tall order, so they were probably putting together whatever they could.
For me, the reruns were the best later at night. Like
Yeah,
when I would usually watch TV, it would be later at night for all the reruns.
yeah. I mean, that seems like a winning strategy, just like Nick at Night, but for old cartoons, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
I
Mhm.
mean, if they continue with their pattern of licensing it out to people, we might see McFarlane the company make Transformers at some point.
I don't know how much I'd want to see that, but I am okay. The original Star Blazers, I think, came out originally in '79 for America. Um, and now I'm watching a 2012 like redo of it where things are written a bit differently. Everything is like improved on, and the animation is terrific. And I'm watching it with a buddy that I watched the original with because he likes Star Blazers like I like Transformers. And the whole time watching it, I'm just like, God, I wish somebody would do this with Transformers. God, I wish somebody would do this with Transformers. It looks amazing. It would. That is just printing money. If you could redo G1 with, you know, the style of animation that they have and improve upon characters and story, it'd just be just printing money.
So is it
I
like
don't know why they don't do it.
is it like a remaster or is it like a whole new remake?
Whole new remake.
Hmm,
But they improve on the characters at the same time they keep the characters true to what they originally were, their personalities and whatnot. Uh Brain fart.
Okay, take your time.
Yeah, right. The animation style, thank you, right. The animation style is amazing, right? And they fix like continuity errors that were in the original. They fix it with some lines of dialogue. It's just
I like
brilliant.
I am such a huge fan of like X-Men 97, and I just really wish that they would do like a Transformers 84.
Yeah. I mean, people have been saying that for like decades now. So, I mean, there's been all these other things they've been doing recently that people have been saying they should do for decades. Maybe that'll happen. We finally have.
They're working on Spider-Man actually right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that for real?
I'm interested. Yeah, I'm interested though because like the voice actor for Aunt May just died, so unfortunately like they would have to recast her.
He passed away. He passed away. Series two. They had two voice actors for Aunt May in that one.
Oh. I mean, they recast pretty much all the X-Men, so I was already going into expecting to probably have a new voice cast anyway.
I honestly expected them to cast Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and kind of do a Matthew Lillard thing with Shaggy.
I mean, I like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, but he doesn't sound anything like the X-Men cartoon Wolverine. They were just doing something completely different with the character.
I've met Cal Dot. He's a pretty chill dude.
Yeah.
I think
Oh, really? Okay.
Jeez.
Lord Spinister the First has declared that we're going to be like hear ye. We're going to be wrapping up shortly for the evening. So I will take a moment to say that this is typically where it is asked, what do we have coming up? To which I will say, if you go to childrenofprimus.com under news and reviews, you can read my review of Marvel Legends Death's Head, which I just published on Friday. If you're on this Discord, which you should be, yeah, there he is. Hey, I'm posting them on the Discord channel there. Yeah. I thought this guy was a convention exclusive, but I guess I was wrong. I'm not complaining because I didn't think I was going to get one, and then I just saw him in GameStop, and I was like, oh, okay. And my next one will be of Straxus here, who I've been taking photos of this whole stream just to fill up his photo library. So hopefully that'll be out next Friday. I'm trying to get back into one a week. I'm not quite there yet, but it's more frequently than the 2 weeks I was. So sooner the better. I got a lot of guys I want to talk about. I got a backlog. I want to talk about these guys. childrenofprimus.com. Go there. Read my stuff, please. I don't want to be shouting into the void. I would anyway. Nobody can stop me, but it'd be nice if it was for an audience.
nobody can stop me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm Megatron in this scenario, but you can't stop me. No, I know people read my. I'm putting myself down, but I know people read my stuff. I get feedback about it, so I don't know how many, but I know that there are people that read it, and I appreciate that. Yeah. Oh, okay. Until all are one. I guess that was.
Like and subscribe.
R1.